Next, we have Esther Chu with Reclaiming Your Welfare That is Lost in Transit.
Did you know, in a few years' time, the cost of running public transport in just New South Wales will exceed the revenue by $5.6 billion. This is why areas with high residential density always has better public transport. You see, with more demand, you can generate more revenue, which means your area can afford better public transport, and good public transport attracts more development, and the cycle continues. But what if you lived in an area with low residential density? Now you don't have the intensity of development, therefore not the demand or the revenue, and you're stuck with poor public transport. But as a taxpayer, you're still paying for the $5.6 billion subsidy despite not reaping the benefits. So now you have three options. One, you could move to an area that's high density and give up your backyards and open spaces. Two, you can move to an area that's so close to the city centre that's highly accessible but comes with a shockingly high price. Three, you could pray that your area represents a marginal seat in the parliament, so politicians will pledge to improve your public transport. I know, none of these options sound very fair because it's now become your responsibility to live in the right area so that your needs are not perpetually overlooked. And that's why my research wants to give you an option 4, which is a new bus planning framework. And all I ask from you is to consider working from home on some days. Imagine in a standard work week, between Monday to Thursday, this new framework can allocate additional buses to reduce your commute time. But on Friday, your commute is longer because we have now reallocated these buses to benefit customers in other areas, so you may want to work from home on Friday. We've developed this model that analyzes the entire bus network, focusing on your origins and destinations to carefully assign buses so that regardless of where you live, you'll never be penalized for more days than others, and you'll always have improved services on the days you do travel. Now, the contribution of this research is more than just travel time savings and fairness. The impact is cyclic. You see, with improved services, we start to attract more development. But this time, instead of over-densifying certain areas and neglecting the rest, we're spreading the development across our city, made possible by the more equitable public transport provision. So we may be able to reach this ideal density that's not dense enough to compromise our backyards or open spaces, but dense enough to generate enough demand and revenue to keep this sustainable cycle going. And with more revenue, we can spend less subsidy on running bad public transport, and more money can be spent on building more schools, more hospitals, funding future research, and every day you'll be reclaiming your welfare that's currently lost in transit. Thank you.